We good?
Good.
Okay. Hey everybody, and judging by the responses I got last time, there are some bodies in the everybody, and so I just wanted to say thank you to all of you that responded last time. A couple of questions came up over the last video having to do with the don't want drivers. That's the subconscious drive that tends to, when we're unconscious to our thoughts, puts us on automatic pilot in life. So when something comes up, we sort of operate on autopilot, where we just kind of go somewhere and it's like, why did I do that? Well, because we got to look at our subconscious drivers and ask, where are my subconscious drivers taking me? And when I'm training, when I ask people what they want, 9 times out of 10 they'll tell me what they don't want, which is a pretty good indication that a lot of people have that. They're more driven by moving away from what they want out of a fear or out of avoidance than they are to move towards what they want. So had a couple good questions on this one. One of the questions, kind of a combination of questions, is how do I get rid of or control my subconscious thoughts? And the answer to that is you don't. You don't want to, because whenever you attempt to control anything, you also end up controlling everything. And so you would end up controlling your inspirational thoughts that come from the same place as the subconscious don't want thoughts. So what you do is you acknowledge them and you feel the energy of them. That way sometimes you may have a subconscious thought that you don't really know what it is, but if you can feel the energy, it can tell you that maybe you're on a road that you don't really want to go down. But what you can also do is when you know you have a subconscious thought, and judging by what some of you said, some of you have pages and pages and pages of don't want driving thoughts that kind of surprised you. Well, they're just thoughts, but they come from our life experiences. And what do you do when you recognize a don't want thought? Well, it's like going down the road and recognizing that you're on a road and you're going in a direction that you don't want to go. You turn around. Same thing with don't want thoughts. What you do is you take a don't want thought. For example, if your don't want thought is I don't want to be poor, and you turn it around. This is where you plant the seeds of intention and creation. And you start to identify what you do want. So instead of I don't want to be poor, it might be I want to be financially free. If you had something like I don't want to be alone or lonely, you might want to look at that. Instead of saying I want to be something like I want to be surrounded by people, you can be surrounded by people but still be alone. You can feel lonely. So you might identify, what do I want as I'm surrounded by people? What do I want in relationships? Do I want love? Do I want honesty? Do I want trust? Do I want commitment and connection, etc., etc., etc.? So that's a little tool you can use to start to turn around your don't want drivers. Another question that was brought up was if we write down our subconscious don't want thoughts, are we giving them power? Simply no. If you were to dwell on them, then yes, you would give them power. But what I find is when people want to ignore or avoid or suppress the don't want thoughts, that's when they're giving them power, because they're putting their energy into, I shouldn't think that, I don't want to think that, etc. So by acknowledging them, that's actually when you start to have power over them, because you can experience the energy of them and you can begin to do something to shift that. Now, these don't want drivers typically come from life experiences that were painful. So in other words, if you're going to go into a relationship and part of you says, I don't want to get hurt, there's probably a good chance that you have gotten hurt before in a relationship. Not only that, you probably put meaning on that hurt. For example, if you got rejected, you might have put a meaning on there like, I'm not good enough for a relationship, or women don't like me, or men don't like me, or something like that. I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago when my wife left me, it hurt, and I put some meaning on that, like I suck as a husband, or I'm a failure as a father, or something like that. Now when you have something like that, it's pretty much an ow, and it hits us in the emotion. What do you do with that? Well, this is where it's a little bit tricky, because you've got to be open to all the possibilities. So when you have those thoughts, the way you work through them is to ask the question, is it a possibility that I really suck as a husband, as a father? And a lot of the quote-unquote positive thinkers out there would say, oh, no, don't even go there. I'm going to contradict that and say, absolutely go there. Be open to that possibility, because if you close yourself off to that possibility, if you close yourself off to a possibility, you close yourself off to all possibility. So if you have a meaning of a life experience that says, oh, I'm not worth it, I suck, I'm not good enough, Is that a possibility? Yeah, it is a possibility. When you go there, you start to open yourself up to all the possibilities. So what's another possibility? Well, the possibility is that rather than I suck, it's not, well, I don't suck. That's a possibility. But that's really not a forward-moving thought to say, well, the other possibility is that I don't suck. That's like saying I'm not a brick or I'm not a piece of chalk or something like that. That's what we're not. So it starts to open up the possibility of what am I? Perhaps I open up myself up to the possibility that I'm worthy, that I'm good enough, etc., etc., etc. And that opens me up to learn the lessons of why a relationship or why something didn't work out in life. Because then I open up myself not only the possibilities, but also the learning lessons that come with them. One other question that I want to address in this video is somebody asked, does everybody have an ego? And the answer is yes. Now, I know a lot of times we think egotistical people are the ones that we look at and say they're conceited or self-centered. But ego can be a lot of things. Ego could be shyness. Ego could be somebody who's the joker, the one that's always the goof off and things like that. Ego is anything that pushes away the possibility of seeing the true nature of ourselves and who we really are. Ego drives the image that we have up around us, that the image that we built up through life experiences that has told us this is how to be in life, to get through it, to survive, to get the best that we think we can get out of it. So does everybody have an ego? Yes. Is it always about the conceited ones or those that we think walk around thinking they're better than everybody? No, it's not really anything to do with that. I'll get into that in another video, but right now I would just invite you to open up yourself to the possibility of what you do want. And also, as you look at the meaning you put on experiences in life, be open that those meanings are true and open yourself up to the possibility of what else could be true about you that you haven't really given yourself permission to look at. And we'll see you next time. I welcome your comments and questions to my private message on Facebook, and we'll see you soon.